This is Yakutsk, the coldest place in the world where you have to dress like a cabbage or your eyelashes freeze instantly. This is life in Yakutsk. Yakutsk is the capital city of Russia's Sakha Republic in the eastern Siberian area. And this city has been seeing an abnormally long cold season and worse winter thanks to global warming. Yakutsk is so cold because it is located in the Permafrost region of the Russian Far East. Permafrost means a solid frozen layer made of soil, gravel, and sand that are bound together by ice. Experts say that extreme cold can be harmful to the human body. Yakutsk's temperature is cold enough to numb exposed skin, which means frostbite is a constant hazard. People are forced to dress like cabbages in a bid to stay warm. The air is so cold that people's eyelashes freeze. Do you want to experience the city's coldest month? Try going in January. In the coldest city in the world, showering and laundry are also challenging tasks. They usually have to dedicate an entire day to this, which is why most only shower once a week. Each resident has a house bath that they need to prepare hours before chopping and burning wood. The temperature can reach up to 70 degrees Celsius. After they get the wood burning in the bathhouse, people will gather some ice and snow from the yards. They will then melt the ice for laundry and showering. Another unique fact about the laundry is that they will hang wet clothes outside to freeze. As they freeze, the moisture will leave the clothes and become ice. All you need to do is crack the clothes and fold them. After laundry, people will shower using leftover water. Usually in the middle of their shower, they will go out of the bathhouse into the freezing winter to boost their immune system. After a few seconds, they will go back and wash off. Owning a car in Yakutsk means plenty of preparations, and locals have found a way to adapt their vehicles to Yakutsk's severe weather. Some people who prefer to have it easier, they'll mothball their cars, take their battery out and leave them outside until spring, take public transportation during wintertime. Some drivers who still want to use their cars during winter will have to install parking heaters on their engines. Another radical method to avoid engine freezing is turning the engine on all the time from autumn onwards until spring. That means you'll park your car with the engine running, leave your key inside, and alarm on. Blankets for cars are also very common in Yakutsk. These are warm, portable garages that look like quilt covers stretched over the car's body. But for a shorter parking time, usually people put a protective auto blanket over the engine only. It's also common to install a second windshield in Yakutsk to prevent the main one from cracking when driving. Yakutsk houses are built with permafrost in mind. That's why they're built differently. The city has a mixture of modern buildings, wooden houses, and blocks of apartments. All of these constructions are built brightly colored to combat seasonal depression and give visibility due to ice fog. To preserve the permafrost, they build the buildings on top of stilts or piles so the heat from buildings doesn't interfere with the frozen lining. Usually, drill cuts through the permafrost, then the reinforced cage is put inside and filled with concrete. Yakutsk houses are sinking, breaking apart, and collapsing. As the earth heats up, the ice beneath the foundation is melting. Over the years, the smooth runway has become a mottled field as the ground sinks. Eventually, the area might become a lake. Some residents are counteracting this using soil to fill the gap between the ground and their homes. Hopefully, the city comes up with a proper solution before it's too late. If most countries have highways on land or over the sea, Yakutsk has a unique transportation system called the Ice Highway, or Indigirka River Highway. The highway is only open during certain months when the ice is strong enough to hold the trucks on top of them, and as spring comes, the road will be closed. The journey could take about 12 days from Yakutsk to Belaya Gora, where truck drivers go back and forth to sell their goods. For each trip, the truck drivers are paid around $600. The journey begins on the Kolyma Highway, a highway through the mountains built during the Stalin era by slave laborers. Although this road is still on land, it's not without risks, and many trucks slid off and plunged to the ledge leading to a freefall. At the halfway point, truck drivers will roll onto the ice highway and ride the frozen river into the Arctic. This is one of the most dangerous highways, as truck drivers can fall into the ice and die, which happens often. But the most dangerous trips are usually around the time before spring comes, as the ice starts to melt. Nevertheless, it's a necessary journey that keeps Belaya Gora and Yakutsk connected through the wintertime. Remember the Kolyma Highway we mentioned? It turns out it has a backstory and a nickname, the Road of Bones. The name was due to its origin because it was built by hundreds of thousands of political prisoners exiled from the gulags during Stalin's regime in the 1930s and 1950s. The work is done using very simple methods with shovels and wheelbarrows for the whole 2,200 kilometers that connects Yakutsk with Magadan. The road is now treated as a memorial, as the bones of 250,000 to 1,000,000 people who died while making it were laid underneath and around the road. You can still see some remnants of prison camps near the Road of Bones, with walls and barbed wire that sinks into the snow. Yakutsk is also home of the only World Mammoth Museum. Established in 1991 as a center for the study of mammoth fauna and its habitat. Before the existence of this museum, all animal fossils found in Yakutsk were always moved to institutions in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Novosibirsk. But due to the sheer amount of fossils found in the area, scientists established this center to conduct comprehensive studies and keep mammoth fossils and exhibitions locally in Yakutsk. This makes sense because about 75% of the world's known mammoth graves and other representatives of mammoth fauna were found in Yakutsk. Now there are over 1,450 objects in the collection of the World Mammoth Museum. Aside from the mammoth, there are remains of other unique animals such as the Verhohang's horse, bison mummy, elk calf, and head of a fox which dates back to 12,450 years ago. All exhibits with soft tissues are kept in a frozen state in a large laboratory freezer. Not only is it the coldest habitable place on Earth, Yakutsk also has the biggest diamond reserve in Russia. The world's largest diamond company by carat, Alrosa, sourced 90% of its diamonds from Yakutsk. The region is also known as the place where the Matryoshka diamond was found. If you're not familiar with the Matryoshka, it's a set of Russian dolls of varying sizes that are designed to nest inside of one another. The diamond they found in Yakutsk is exactly like that. A bigger diamond within another diamond moving freely inside of it. According to experts, the diamond might be 800 million years old and is the first of its kind. It's a very unique creation, as usually minerals will form around the cavity formation. Yakutsk also has the world record for the greatest temperature range because their summers can reach up to 101.8 degrees Fahrenheit or around 38 degrees Celsius. It's even been added to the Guinness Book of World Records. Some people have a hard time dealing with the summertime, as most residents don't have any AC. Although Yakutsk is the coldest region in Russia, it also has the most wildfires. The fires happen due to lightning, discarded cigarettes, vehicles, campfires, power line failures, crop fires, logging, or arson. According to the Ministry of Nature, 70% of wildfires were in Yakutia, with over 6 million hectares of forest and fields burnt in 2020. It has become a vicious circle since then, when fires were subdued during winter and reignited again once the snow melted. The fire often hits during spring and early summer. The condition is now so threatening that the region recruits volunteers to help, some even teenagers. The wildfires are getting very close to the residents, especially the 6,000 people residing in Kandiga on River Alden. In 2023, the disaster continues as 4,000 people are now involved in fighting the fires. In August 2023, 111 forest fires were going on in the Yakutia region at the same time. People are suffering as they are now unable to open the windows or go outside because of the smog from the forest fires. Another beautiful spot in the region is the Lena Pillars Nature Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Center. They're a chain of steep rocks on the right bank of the Lena stream. Many Yakutsk clan consider the pillars to be a sacred spot, and only older folks and shamans can move toward the rocks. The place is also thought to be the site of one of the oldest human civilizations in the world, where old instruments are found at the mouth of the waterway. The beautiful spot is now a famous vacation site for people in Yakutsk. When it comes to Yakutian traditional cuisine, you're not going to be enjoying normal dishes. Yakutsk is a cold region where everything freezes, so it's not a very hospitable place to grow fruits and vegetables. People also need plenty of fats and protein to deal with the cold. Due to the cold climate, most meat or fish are often eaten raw in a lightly frozen state. One of the most well-known dishes in Yakutia cuisine is stronganina, which is long, thin slices of frozen Arctic river fish. The fish is left frozen and sliced with a traditional birch-handled knife. The taste is soft, fresh, and frosty, and you dip it into a bowl of salt and pepper. Another dish people eat in Yakutsk is frozen horse meat and liver. People usually eat fowl or baby horse meat and liver, which was believed to help Yakutian ancestors combat the extreme cold. You won't see much frozen beef, elk, or venison due to the possibility of contracting diseases. Yakutsk horses are not just used as their food, but also as a means of transportation, celebration, and clothing. Yakutian has been herding horses for centuries, and they are seen as a symbol of fertility and wealth. People also milk their horses to make fermented milk or coolest, an alcoholic drink that's also rich in vitamins. In June, communities gather to pray, feast, sing, dance, and race horses to honor light and life. Coolest is then tossed in 4 directions and thrown into a bonfire as an offering to the spirits. These horses are adapted for the extreme climates in Yakutsk and can survive minus 70 degrees Celsius weather. They're even used to digging and foraging in deep snow for vegetation to eat. These native horses in Yakutsk are short and well-built. Compared to other horses, Yakutians are larger with low necks and broad backs. Due to its climate, the region relies heavily on ice as its source of water. Digging wells into the permafrost is expensive and difficult, which is why people use ice for drinking, bathing, and maintaining general hygiene. Their tap water, which is drawn from the Lena River, is only usable 2.5 months of the year. This is because their pipes are constructed above the ground and freezes over during winter. In the spring, the water is too full of sediment. Thus, people usually consume it only in the summertime. So instead of relying on pipes, people in Yakutsk harvest ice in November and store it outside on raised surfaces. As the months get warmer, people move the supply underground into cellars that have become a year-round freezer thanks to the permafrost. A small household usually needs about 10 square meters or 108 square feet of ice to last through the colder months. Another fact unique to Yakutsk is their national sport, maze wrestling, which has been practiced by Yakuts since ancient times. Unlike other types of wrestling, in this competition, 2 athletes pull a stick over a barrier with their legs against it while sitting on the floor. The sport doesn't require special equipment, but it's an exercise for your body and willpower. The reason they did this instead of normal wrestling is to avoid injuries and quarrels, as well as preserving the lives of warriors. According to the legend, Yakutsk adopted the game from Vikings. The sport is now gaining global attention, and there are even mass wrestlers from Bangladesh, China, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and the US now competing in international mass wrestling competitions. Locals in Yakutsk prefer to be called Sakha instead of Yakutian, as it is their native tongue. Sakha's origin is little known, but they are thought to be migrants from the Lake Baikal region and Lena. Nowadays, they have assimilated into the northern peoples and consisted of 80 independent tribes. Most of the Sakha people were semi-nomadic, changing their settlements throughout winter and summer times. If you're interested in watching a special event in the region, you should attend a Pole of Cold. The festival is held annually in the village of Oymyakon, where a mixture of Yakut and Evenk cultures are assimilated. During the festival, you'll see everyday life, traditions, and cultures such as races of reindeer herders. There's also a Miss Pole of Cold that features some of the most beautiful Yakut girls. You will also meet the Guardian of Cold, or Kiskan. When you visit Yakutsk, one attraction that you can't miss is the Kingdom of Permafrost. Originally built as a refrigeration complex for food storage, the Kingdom of Permafrost is now a famous tourist site. Interestingly, the tunnel is warmer than the outside during wintertime, reaching only a low temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. The kingdom is a good way to see what permafrost means with your own eyes. The wall is a solid frozen soil, riddled with icy veins. You'll see dozens of ice sculptures and enjoy local vodka in glasses made from ice. If you feel like working, the tunnels also have a full office on display, complete with Wi-Fi and telephone access. Do you want to get something unique as a souvenir from Yakutsk? Then you should buy the warmest shoe in the world, Unti. The shoe is irreplaceable among the people of Yakutsk. The shoe traditionally has a short fur sewn from reindeer hides and decorated with the skins of Arctic foxes. There's a fur lining inside, and you'll tie the boots using a special string. The soles are thick to withhold the cold and provide strong traction with icy surfaces. The sole also has a special rubber weave that lets it not freeze on the outside. Interested in going shopping at the fish market in the coldest city in the world? Yakutsk has an advantage as it acts as a natural freezer. People easily put their fish outside without using any cold storage. You'll be greeted with plenty of frozen fishes and berries in the open air. The market is always open year-round. There's also a market extension inside the building for home goods, vegetables, or clothing items. Yakutsk is a beautiful region that's filled with natural resources, and the people in this region have found unique ways to utilize them. Unfortunately, global warming has threatened the permafrost and the livelihood of the people of Yakutsk, leading to forest fires and sinking structures. Let's hope it all turns around before it disturbs Yakutsk's beautiful way of life.